about 10 o'clock, so we're going to get started. And as everybody's kind of filtering in and getting to their seats, don't worry, you won't miss any of the important things that we'll be speaking to today, but we're just going to go over a little bit of housekeeping, kind of explain where we're headed for the next hour and get everybody started, and then we'll get our speakers rolling for the day. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Submarine Industrial Base Resource webinar. It has been quite a while since we've done one of these, so we thought we'd come back with a bang and with our guest that we have with us today, and a great topic that we will be discussing. So the resource webinar is, the way that we wrote it was the Forging Your Path as a Submarine Supplier. So SENEDIA and MassMEP will provide the tools for you to excel in the submarine industrial base. It will be for you for revealing crucial connections and resources for current and interested suppliers. So everybody that's in here today more than likely is falling inside of those words, categories, industries that we just kind of hit on. So we'd like to welcome everyone in this morning. As you can see, we're set up in a webinar style format. And so the webinar style format, while you are just kind of a name on the side, you still can engage with our panelists for the morning. There's two options. If it's been a while since you've been in Zoom, on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a toolbar that will allow you to access. There is a couple of different options. You have a chat bubble and there's a Q&A bubble. Since your mics are muted and your videos are off, we encourage you to use one of those two options. When it comes to the chat bubble, we recommend this be used for a situation if you need to have a direct conversation with possibly one of our panelists that's in the room with you this morning, or if you have something that you feel is a question. More than likely somebody else in this webinar probably has a similar question, so we really encourage you to use that Q&A. We'd like to keep the discussion flowing today and feel that that is the best option for us to make sure that we hit on all those answers. If for some reason we do have an hour scheduled for this webinar, we feel that with the content and with the Q&A at the end of this, we do have enough time for everything. But for some reason, if we don't answer your questions, we will be able to answer them directly through the emails that you use to register. So don't worry, all the questions will be answered. We'll be able to do that. You also notice that we are recording this morning, and the recording, we will be releasing that on our YouTube channel for MassMEP, so that if you're in here and you feel somebody within your working connections could benefit from watching this and didn't register and isn't in here watching, they'll be able to go and access it from our YouTube page. So we encourage you to go back in there and use it. It's also a great resource area for you too as well. If you miss something or you can't remember something that we discussed, you can always go back and watch it again. So that is available to you. So please, like we said, use your Q&A and use your chat bubble today. I'm Haley Steele. I'm with MassMEP. I'm kind of moderating the day for us, but you can see we do have three speakers in front of us. Our guest that we have with us is Tim Fox. He's the Deputy Executive Director of SENEDIA. We also have with us our own Kimberly Ingalls and Olivia Antonelli, and both of them are critical roles inside of why we're here today. So each of them will be discussing some topics with you that you will benefit from. If you're in this webinar today and you are a manufacturer that is in the state of Massachusetts, and if you've worked with us before, you kind of know we have a process. We are federally and state funded, and we fall under NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technologies. And so because we are federally funded, we have what's called a survey process. And in 6 to 12 months, any of you that are Massachusetts manufacturers in the webinar, you will be connected with us again. Hopefully we'll be connecting before that and within that time frame as well, but we will definitely be reaching out to you again in 6 to 12 months to do a survey. And the survey, it isn't your traditional survey where you think of, was it great content? Were the speakers amazing? Did the moderator do a great job? Check, check, check. It's actually more along the lines of, the impacts. So what impacts has this webinar had for you in the 6 to 12 months? Was there information you took away from this? Were you able to maybe create a job for this? Were you able to retain a job from this? Any of those financial economic impacts that it makes onto you as a Massachusetts manufacturer, that's what we'll be surveying you for. So without further ado, let's get this going. And I'd like to turn this over to Tim Fox, the Deputy Executive Director of SENEDIA.
Thank you, Haley. And thanks, MassMEP, for giving SENEDIA this opportunity to discuss programs and resources that we have available for the submarine industrial base. So for quick understanding of what I'm going to be discussing today is I'm going to discuss the New England Submarine Shipbuilding Partnership that is powered by SENEDIA and what it is. And then I'm going to go into the workforce development resources available and the supply chain development resources available through our partnership. So moving on to our partnership. So in August of 2020, SENEDIA was awarded a Department of Defense contract to support the trades and industrial skills workforce development in support of the construction of the Virginia and Columbia class submarines. As many of you know, one of the prime contractor for submarine shipbuilding is General Dynamics Electric Boat, located in Connecticut and Rhode Island. But there is a supply chain across New England. Some of you are members of it. Some of you may want to be members of it. And so we received the contract to support your trades and industrial skills workforce development. So the partnership works to provide both workforce and supply chain development resources to you as the suppliers. And we do this through a next generation sector partnership structure where industry members and regional stakeholders like at MassMEP and some other resources from training providers and state workforce development agencies to find and provide solutions to the issues identified by industry. So the stakeholders aren't trying to solve problems that they think are a problem. It really is industry stepping up and saying, "Hey, these are the issues that we are facing on workforce and supply chain development that we could use some support with." So, like I said, SENEDIA has convened this since 2020. It's free to participate, which is always great to hear. When we share out this this presentation later on, there's a bunch of links in this presentation, but the first one I'll point you to is how do you join the partnership, which is down there at the bottom at our main website for this effort, which is submarine.senedia.org. Then obviously you can go through partnership, sign up there. To talk about our workforce development resources, which are really the meat of our effort. We have dozens of resources available, but the key ones that I want to highlight first is our incumbent worker and new hire trades and industrial skills training program. So this is a $30,000 subsidy that's available to any industry member who's in the submarine shipbuilding supply chain or who can demonstrate that their training and their capability could be an add-on to the supply chain, either as a supplier directly to Electric Boat, or more importantly, to a supplier to another supplier. SENEDIA has identified over 1,000 suppliers throughout New England that fall under this submarine industrial base umbrella, and so there's tons of opportunities for industry to connect in, not just through Electric Boat, but also throughout the supply chain. So again, this $30,000, when you get this slide presentation later on, you can click that title there, and that'll bring you right to our training page where you can access that funding. There's another webinar. If you feel like watching more webinars today, there is another webinar that explains all of the ins and outs of that program. There's also a program guidelines that you can look through. It's a quick, I'd say 5 to 10 minute application to access that funding, and then you work directly with SENEDIA on the discussion of is this applicable for the program. So really low red tape in getting access to this funding. Another program that I want to highlight is our Trades Pipeline program. So the trades pipeline program is when if a group of industry members or even just one company says, hey, we have a demand for 5 machinists every quarter for the next 5 quarters. We really want to rebuild our second shift, or we want to add a third shift, or whatever it is. When there's a projected demand over a long-term period, SENEDIA can help you by setting up a trades pipeline program at a local university, community college, or other training organization, um, to create a candidate workforce pool for you to hire out of. The great thing about when we set up these pipeline programs is that we directly contract the training provider, so you no longer have to be that middle person where you submit and pay for the program and then request reimbursement from an organization like SENEDIA. This is where we directly contract with them. So it's a great opportunity for you to get connected to new talent. Certainly, if you have somebody that you would love to get trained up, a new hire that you hired for fit, and are looking to train for skill, this is a great program to utilize, to get them skilled up. A couple of things I want to talk about for outreach, awareness, and recruiting programs. So directly through SENEDIA, there's a program called the CTE Internship Opportunity Program. This program provides reimbursement up to $15 an hour for up to 8 weeks at 40 hours. Certainly that can be at part-time, full-time, however you and the intern want to work it, but reimbursement for their salary up to $15 per hour. It's a great opportunity for you to connect in, particularly our CTE students who across Massachusetts are getting world-class education in their schools, and now it's time to bring them into industry. And we're hoping that this is one of the stopgap measures to help you meet those, address any barriers for bringing a new hire potential into your workforce. But in addition to that, those outreach, awareness, and recruiting programs, there's also a bunch of other programs that, in partnership with General Dynamics Electric Boat, SENEDIA is helping to expand out through New England. EB now has a program called, they have a set of programs called their boat programs. And these are outreach, awareness, and recruiting programs from 4th graders through adults. So if you're interested in getting more connected to your community, to find more candidates, to help candidates understand what you do, and what it means to be in manufacturing, and how it's not the old school image that a lot of folks still have on manufacturing, where it's dirty and dusty, but that the fact that they are high tech, high skill, high wage career opportunities. Would love to connect with you about bringing a boat program to your area. And I'll just quickly kind of highlight what the boat programs are. So we have a Boat for Kids program, which is a program developed for 4th and 5th graders, and it's just bringing awareness about the opportunities available in manufacturing, so that when they get to 18 or when they graduate college and they're looking for a job, they've got that baseline information of, oh, this is what manufacturing is like. And we focus in that program on the 6 core trades that we've identified for submarine shipbuilding, which is welding, pipe fitting, ship fitting, electrical, machining, and sheet metal fabrication. Then to continue on that outreach and awareness to students, there's the Boat for Explorers program, which is highlighted for middle school students. And that's a partnership between RoboNation and their Sea Perch project, which is an underwater ROV competition that, again, it's just introducing those manufacturing principles and discussing the career opportunities in manufacturing. Our goal with the Boat for Kids and Boat for Explorers is to get more kids into the CTE programs, but understanding that not every student's going to go into the CTE programs. We also have a Boat for Next Generation, which is for your typical regular comprehensive high school student who's on potentially a college prep track, but maybe doesn't want to go to college when they first get out of high school. And so the Boat for Next Generation program, again, is another touch point with the students to say, hey, there's another great opportunity for you to learn about the industrial careers that are available in your area. And we also encourage industry members with that Boat for Next Gen program to open up your doors and potentially provide tours to students so they can see specifically at your company what you do and what you create. And then at the adult level, we have three different programs. We have a Boat for Women program targeted at bringing more women into manufacturing, a Boat for Veterans program, obviously targeted to bring more veterans into the program. And then we just have a catch-all program, Boat for Everyone, that if there's anyone who's interested in manufacturing, wants to learn a little bit more, it's a great program to kind of catch them and bring them in. I also wanted to mention two really critical partners in the New England submarine industrial base effort. They're both focused on developing talent pipelines and developing workforce pools and helping companies connect to those workforce. So the first one I'm going to mention is a website that's near and dear to my heart because SENEDIA started it and then we passed it on to help it grow. We passed it on to a partner, Blue Forge, and they've built out buildsubmarines.com. Buildsubmarines.com is now a national entry point for anyone who's interested in joining the submarine industrial base. So if there's anybody in your life that is interested in joining the submarine industrial base, I would highly recommend that they go to Build Submarines and put in their application to get connected to the industry. And this isn't just for New England, this is across the country. The great thing about Build Submarines is that you as industry members, you can also access that information. You can access that information in two ways. One, you can go directly to buildsubmarines.com and sign up to view the database. The other is by going to SENEDIA's website, submarine.senedia.org, and signing up for the weekly interested candidate update. And that's where we're just going to, working with Blue Forge, we're working on pulling the New England candidates specifically, or candidates interested in working in New England, and then we're going to blast those out in email. So instead of you having to remember, oh, I've got to go look at Build Submarines, this is another opportunity for you to access those students. And the opportunities there. And a third piece that I'll just mention about Build Submarines is that there's an opportunity to get your jobs posted there. I would certainly recommend anybody who has open positions to go and check out buildsubmarines.com. The second partner that I want to mention is the New England Talent Pipeline Project. And in particular, they have planted a Boston flag, and their mission is to help with talent acquisition and retention. So they're going to support you as an industry member in developing your talent acquisition and retention policies and programs. I know there's a meeting coming up next week. Again, I've linked their website here. Highly recommend connecting with the New England Talent Pipeline Project folks. And I do know some signed up for today's webinar. So if anyone is on from TMG and the pipeline and you want to put into the webinar chat, best ways to connect to the pipeline other than the website that I've linked, I'd highly recommend that you do that. Moving on to the business development resources that are available. And the supply chain development resources. So one of the best connections that we make through both SENEDIA and the New England Submarine Shipbuilding Partnership is networking. And we do this through a multitude of events. Primarily, we have quarterly Teams meetings, and that's where industry really gets to connect back to the regional stakeholders and back to SENEDIA to say, hey, these are the issues and concerns we're having, and that we would appreciate some support in either solutions or programs that we can connect to. Additionally, I go out and do supplier visits and can help to connect you to the supply chain at large. But then we can also obviously discuss your workforce development needs. The third is our events. We are really starting to gear up our events. We had our first really great event earlier this year. It was called the Project MFG Rhode Island Maritime Welding Event. Project MFG is another great partner. They put on a welding competition, but then also provide a space for kind of like a career awareness, career fair opportunity. We had well over 100 students from the Rhode Island community attend that event. I know that the New England Talent Pipeline Project is looking to host a Project MFG event in Massachusetts. So another really great opportunity, or another really great reason to connect to TMG and the New England Talent Pipeline to get access to the Massachusetts Project MFG event, which I believe is going to be held in the spring of 2024. And then finally is just information sharing. We're constantly sending out information that we get from programs like MassMEP and other stakeholders, from the government, from EB. We're constantly trying to keep industry updated on resources and programs available. The next product that I want to talk about is the Submarine Shipbuilding Supply Chain Database. On submarine.senedia.org, there is a submarine specific partner database where it's very rudimentary. It's primarily, hey, this is my capabilities, these are my qualifications, and this is my business development point of contact. It's free to sign up for that partnership. What I will say is this partnership database is for the submarine industrial base. So for companies who are looking to expand their work outside of just the submarine industrial base, I'm really glad that the MassMEP folks, Olivia here in a moment is gonna talk about the MassMEP CONNEX database, which will certainly help you get connected to a much broader manufacturing base to build up your customer and supplier base. And then the final piece that I want to talk about is the compendium of regional resources. This is where I'm hoping that this is a starting point for you. So if you're looking to connect to MassMEP, or to connect to an Apex accelerator, or to connect to a workforce development partner, or to connect to a training partner, that compendium of regional resources is a place for you to connect in and start with your search for, hey, I'm looking for candidates, hey, I'm looking for training opportunities, or hey, I'm looking for business development resources. We're continually updating that, we're continually add to that. But it's just another great resource for you all to connect to. And so with that, I'll answer any questions. I think we did get a question. Oh, we got John from TMG put the TMG information in the Q&A. So I'd highly recommend folks. There's some great resources there, great guys to connect to for additional resources. But again, if there's any questions specifically on the SENEDIA effort, happy to take them either now or at the end of the event.
I do have 3 questions for you, Tim, but they kind of maybe go backwards. We'll start with like your slides. Thankfully you color coded them, so that helped a little bit. So if we, on the red slide, there was information you had stated in there about your events and things. How is it that people are able to access that information?
So particularly with the events, I think the best way to connect to the events is to join the partnership so that you get awareness. We will try to post them on both social media and the website, as well as senedia.org, which is the parent organization of the New England Submarine Shipbuilding Partnership. We try to share information through those social media channels as well. And certainly if folks are looking to connect to the wider defense industrial base, not just the submarine industrial base, I would highly recommend folks check out senedia.org and what that membership can do to support connecting to events and other suppliers throughout the broad defense industrial base. Okay.
You may have touched on it a little bit, but how can, or I'm sorry, not how, but who can actually join the partnership? You may have touched on it a little bit, but.
Sure. So the partnership is open to industry members in the supply chain, industry members interested in joining the supply chain, and also other regional stakeholders. So if there's anyone on here from a training provider or a workforce development agency or organization, a business development organization, we encourage everyone to join the partnership. The partnership is all about helping industry identify their concerns and the regional stakeholders helping to identify solutions.
Okay, perfect. Last question. Obviously we're, it's something that's pretty much a daily conversation now, cybersecurity. So can cybersecurity training be covered in the incumbent worker training program?
So unfortunately, cybersecurity training cannot be covered under the incumbent worker training funding. But what I would do is encourage folks to connect back to MassMEP, and if you're from other states, to your local MEPs, because many of the MEP networks have cybersecurity resources. I will say though, if it is a concern, if it is something that is a great opportunity for you to voice those concerns or ask for help with those solutions in the partnership meetings. Because again, that's where more of the regional stakeholders are listening, and they'll be able to hear you say, hey, I need help either with technology and acquiring technology to secure my workspace, or I need somebody to actually come in and support. We're a small manufacturer, we don't have an in-house IT person. Again, those partnership calls are great opportunities. And we're also going to look to do a cybersecurity event. Last year we had MXD, the one of the Defense Innovation Institutes out of Chicago, do a presentation on the need for cybersecurity. They have I believe it's I'm not 100% clear on the name. It's the National Institute for Cybersecurity Manufacturing, or something of that flavor. And that I would highly recommend any industrial partner who needs help with cybersecurity to definitely check out mxdusa.org. They're a great organization, federally funded, to help support manufacturers with cybersecurity.
All right. Those were the questions, Tim. So you're off the hook. You did a great job. You answered them all very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I know you stated about the presentations, that's usually another question that comes in, and a lot of people will ask, can we have the copy of this presentation? So yes, Tim has given us permission to be able to send this out. So you will be receiving a follow-up email from us. We say it's a follow-up, meaning that when the event's over, and we just send out the presentation to everybody so you can have access to it. So no need to worry about that, but it will be available for you. And we will be popping in some of the websites as well. And like Tim had noted, TMG did put information into the Q&A. It's also in the chat as well. So if you want to access any of that, you can access that. So everything will be available. We'll make sure that you have access to everything that you want. So without further ado, now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. And a lot of people always asking, I think Tim did a great job of kind of setting it up for us and saying where and how the MEP centers get connected to this. But we are going to have Kimberly Ingalls, who is the MassMEP Director of Business Operations, kind of fill in those questions for you.
Hi, everybody, and thanks, Haley. Thank you, Tim. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. Hopefully, we're providing you guys with some great information that will help answer some of your questions and provide some resources for you guys as you think about your supply chain. Like Tim teed it up great. So, and I'll touch on some of the resources we have for Massachusetts state funding. But when you work with MassMEP, right, we're a team that provides recommendations, actions to improve processes, production, and your technology capabilities, as the slide says. We are, so I'll just explain that I have been with MassMEP for 15 years, and I feel like I still learn something new every day, right? So MassMEP is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. And we provide resources, training, grant opportunities within Massachusetts. So our federal funding, we are federally funded by NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and they are part of a national network. So, and we're also state funded, but there is an MEP center in every state. Some have different names. So I know there's several people on this call today that are from other states. So there is an MEP center in your state that you certainly have these resources as well. We align with our national partner to make sure that we are supporting manufacturers in their top and bottom line growth. So for each center, right, we kind of have the whole ability to make sure that we're aligning all in the same kind of venue. So if you need resources or you need that information, please reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you guys with the ones that are in your state, the MEP centers in your state. So I think we can go to the next one. So who we serve, right? We serve all manufacturing industries. So these are some of the highlights. So I just wanted to highlight the defense, obviously, because we're targeting obviously what you guys are interested in and what your needs and opportunities are. So that's how we want to help you out today. You can go ahead. So as an MEP center, and this is every one of these MEP centers in the state, including Puerto Rico, MassMEP is, as I said, federally funded. So we have to provide economic and impact resources to and results to our federal partner. We have to report back what we do with manufacturers, how it impacts each one of our states. So this is a 5-year summary of what we have as Haley mentioned earlier on in the very beginning of the day. She mentioned that we do a survey. So this is how we capture these types of results and impacts for Massachusetts, and every MEP center does this for each state. So if you work with us based on what the projects are and the programs are, this is what we have to prove and show as the results. So all of those are important. So what we do, these are some of our service offerings, right? Operational excellence, workforce development, innovative growth, and now we're in the supply chain sector with as well as workforce. Can go ahead, Liv. Thank you. So these are some of the services that we support in your supply chain world, right? Just bringing forward the theme, right, of how we can help with the capabilities and the things that are required for all of you who are in the submarine industry and any industry really for manufacturing. So these are some of the highlighted programs. The ones that are highlighted in green are certainly ones that affect and certainly apply to your manufacturing companies and how they can help you sustain and get into keep that submarine industrial based programs moving forward. So, and this is a little bit about what we do in some other of the programs that are under operational excellence, and there's some of the ISO programs based on our quality management programs. So in talking about cybersecurity, I know Tim had mentioned this. So we do have programs as cybersecurity assessments and applications. We do work with all manufacturers. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to share this with you guys. If there is a need or an opportunity for you as an individual manufacturing company, as in the supply chain, that you want to make sure that you have these requirements out of the cybersecurity element. So we do applications for this. We do have in Massachusetts, we do have federal general grants and express grants from the state that help provide the funding for these programs and help you move on your journey to the cybersecurity. So this is the next opportunity that you have for connecting. Like I said, MassMEP is a connector, right, within all of these industries and supply chains. So we want to make sure that we're providing you with the most information that we can. So in making these connections and supporting all the suppliers in the network, we want to make sure that the type of resources you have align with what the needs are and your capabilities. So right now I'm going to hand it off to Olivia Antonelli, who is our CONNEX program specialist, and she can give you a breath of how this can help your supply chain and how you think about the initiative to grow.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
So I know quite a few of you on the call today are registered for CONNEX, which is great. So hopefully, as I'm speaking to some of the opportunities that are coming out of the platform, you've seen those firsthand, whether or not they fell within the capabilities of your business or not. So back at the start of 2023, MassMEP purchased a license to CONNEX Massachusetts. And to go back to what Kim talked about, the objective was to give our Massachusetts manufacturers tools to enhance their supply chain, to find opportunities, and to be found if they could meet the needs of others. So it's there's a database component to the platform where you can search for materials and products and companies, but really the bread and butter of what CONNEX is, it's a platform to connect you. So in CONNEX, you can view requests that are coming from various government agencies. And while we're talking about the submarine industrial base, I want to highlight that there's opportunities that come from the US Navy and their needs. They're put forth in CONNEX. And as a member of this platform, you have the opportunity to see that request and its details, and then to decipher whether or not your business could fulfill that need. In addition to that, you can also view the needs of manufacturers throughout the state and the nation. So whether it be a manufacturer in Massachusetts who experiences a disruption in their supply chain, maybe they're looking to reshore a certain component that they've been getting overseas for so long, you'll be notified of those opportunities, and you'll have the opportunity to respond directly to that manufacturer. Furthermore, I do want to highlight that because of the license with MassMEP, it is free to all Massachusetts manufacturers to have what's called state level access, which means you'll be able to view any needs from Massachusetts manufacturers, and then you'll be able to search for other Massachusetts manufacturers as well. The majority of the time, you will also be able to see all of the requests coming from the various government agencies, because those requests are brought through and highlighted by an MEP center. So if you have that free state level access, you would, for example, be able to see the recent request that came from the US Navy. If you wanted to see national access, so you wanted to be notified of, what manufacturers in Connecticut are looking for, New Hampshire, gosh, maybe California, that does require a national subscription, which costs $500 a year. But I'll highlight a little promotion that we're running right now, which would let you get a taste of it before you commit to that payment. And as the whole nation is really focusing on supply chain, we all know that it was highlighted in 2020 and kind of the issues that we had and our vulnerabilities. A lot of other states signed on with CONNEX and partnered with them to also offer their state manufacturers a tool. So far, there's over 20 states that have a partnership with CONNEX, and that's continuing to grow across the nation. I highlighted the bread and butter of CONNEX as kind of that exchange piece or that connection piece. So I wanted to give you just a snapshot. It's a touch blurry, so I apologize. My screenshot capabilities could use some work. But this is an opportunity in the Exchange Center. So this is a manufacturer in Utah. If you see down here, they needed somebody to do some precision grinding for them. So they outlined the needs or the specifications of this material, when it starts, when it ends. And what's really great is you respond directly here. So you click the respond button, you say, hey, I'm XYZ from this company. We have the capabilities to fulfill this request, and you can get in touch with them directly. If you were to respond to an opportunity from a government agency, for example, the US Navy, you would click respond, and then an MEP center will typically serve as the middleman in this situation. So we'll see that you responded, and we will pass your contact information along to that government agency, and then they will be in contact with you after that. So why you should join CONNEX? I mean, this is a great tool for any manufacturer, not just those looking to join the submarine industrial base, but being that that's the reason you're here today, I want to highlight the top two pieces. As I talked about, you're going to have access to those government procurement opportunities. You're going to be able to see the details and identify that your company can meet that request. Furthermore, it's enhanced exposure for you. Part of my job at MassMEP is identifying manufacturers who can meet a request. So oftentimes, if I'm seeing something come from the Navy or the Environmental Protective Agency or the Department of Energy, if you haven't responded directly, maybe you had a busy week, you weren't on CONNEX, you didn't see it, I'm still going to try and bring this to your attention. But in order to do that, I need to have an understanding of what your capabilities are. So I'll search in the platform, whether it's keywords about processes and services. And if you're on CONNEX and those details are included in your profile, then I'll be giving you a call or sending you an email saying, hey, I think this opportunity might be a match for you. So it's not just me who's doing that. There's other, government agencies who can search as well, other manufacturers who have needs, they can search in the platform as well. So you want to be there to highlight your company and what it is that you do. So I'll end here. Here's just some registration information. If you scan the QR code, it will take you to the spot to sign up. It's quick and easy. It takes about 5 minutes. There's also a whole page on CONNEX with a slew of resources. If you're tired of hearing me talk about it or would rather not hear it directly from me, Haley designed a great page, which includes a lot of information, massmep.org/CONNEX. And then that promotion that I was talking about, if you sign up by October 31st, you can experience national access free for 6 months, which it would be great. You could get in there and see, what type of opportunities are coming through the platform. And then you can identify whether or not it would be a tool you want to purchase for your company. So that is CONNEX in a nutshell. And I will hand it back over to you, Haley.
Yeah, Liv, I know one of the questions that comes up a lot is how do the manufacturers stay updated on the requests that are coming from the government agencies through CONNEX? Like, do they get like, hey, what's going on? Or how does that work?
Well, they can. Like I said, I could call them if I noticed that they haven't responded, but CONNEX also has a tool for that. So when there is a post going into the Exchange Center, there's 6 categories that can be selected to give that manufacturer a notification. For example, let's see, there was 2 recent posts that came from the US Navy. So if anybody had defense industry listed on their profile, they would get an email about that opportunity. It can also be more specific. You can, if there's a post and they can say, I want anybody with this NAICS code, this manufacturing NAICS code to be identified about the opportunity, you'll get a direct email about it. So there's some great notification tools that CONNEX has implemented. So that way the opportunities are put in front of the manufacturer.
So they've done a good job of it being very user-friendly for anybody that's in the database.
Absolutely.
Good. One other question that did come in prior to today, this might go back, I'm not sure, this might cross over maybe into you, Kim, a little bit, was we've been hearing a lot about the funding, the grant funding. What does the process look like when they're applying for the grant funding for the MassMEP trainings?
Sure, I can touch on that. So like I mentioned, we do have general grants that can go up to $200,000. So depending on what programs you think are necessary for either trainings or certifications and those types of programs, you can go and we can help you apply, right? We do the process. It's through ComCorp, and we work through that process and application with you, determine what is the best and appropriate program trainings for you. And it goes into obviously the ComCorp system, and you apply. And once you apply, you wait to hear back to make sure that you are accepted for the programs. And then you will, then start the trainings and be invoiced through those trainings for each program that you do. And then we also have an express grant for up to $20,000. So those are more short-term pieces. So something like a cybersecurity that you feel as though you might need some restructuring with, or ISO auditors, or ISO auditing. Those types of programs we have, they're kind of like we call them one-offs. They're in the express program. They're one program piece. Specifically related to that training that you need. And we fill that out, and it's up to $20,000. So almost all of it's covered realistically when you think about those funding opportunities.
Yeah. And when we talk about cybersecurity, I think the most important thing we always discuss is that even if it's not, it's worth the investment versus what could be the alternate. So if you don't have the cybersecurity and where that could take you, where you could end up with that. So it is better to make the investment than to not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we do have a question. So can MassMEP help me build out my CONNEX profile or give me a one-on-one info session on CONNEX?
Yes, yes, and yes. And as Kim was talking, I actually said, shoot, I forgot to mention that. So thank you to whoever asked that. Yes, if you are on this call today, and even others as well, I am more than happy to meet with you and help you build out your profile. Furthermore, I mean, if you don't have that time, typically that would take 15 minutes to a half hour, depending how much detail we wanted to add. We could also meet for a shorter amount of time. And if you felt that your website or you had a document that identified all that your company does, I'd be happy to take that information and put it into your profile with your permission, of course. So we can certainly meet and set that up, because we really want your profiles to be as detailed as possible. Because if you just sign up for CONNEX and don't build out your profile, you're not going to get notified about those opportunities, and others aren't going to be aware of all that you do. So certainly happy